Good morning, everyone. It's Brenda Quintana, and I'm here with you on a Friday, and I'm going to be bringing you a fabulous box. And if you are joining me live, yay! And if you're watching this as a recording, I just want to remind you, you can definitely skip through this first little bit. I just wait a little bit for some people to join me live so that I can answer their questions. But if that part of my video is boring and you just want to get right to the box, please feel free to skip on ahead and get to the nitty-gritty of my projects. But don't forget, if you like my videos, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. You can do that by clicking on my little icon in the corner of my video with my face on it. And make sure you also set your notifications by ringing the bell. Good morning, Birgit. Got some people joining me this morning. Yay! I'm so glad you guys are here. Last week I was in Maui on the Stampin' Up incentive trip, and it was wonderful. And for someone who's been living like a hermit for over a year, it was really kind of bizarre being out in public. But we, of course, my husband and I are both vaccinated, and we stayed masked up when we needed to. And the state of Hawaii at the time still had a masking mandate in place, even outdoors. And so we pretty much followed that. And we did a lot of... normally, I'm a pretty social person on trips, and I like to say hi to a lot of my friends on the trip. But this time, it was kind of more, if I just happened to see you, I didn't really seek out those opportunities like I normally do. We just really needed a vacation, and I was also still a little bit hesitant with the whole pandemic virus thing. It's just going to take a while to get everyone back to normal, and it is what it is. But we did a lot of beautiful, awesome hikes. We hiked, I think, almost every day. I'm an avid walker, so we definitely walked every day, but we did so many cool hikes, and I really, really enjoyed that part of it, because I think I'm more of a hiking person than I am a beach person. I get a little bored on the beach, like by the pool. I know a lot of you can do that. I'm not that person. I need to be doing something. So I love hiking, and I love, I don't know, it just makes me feel so good, right? My body feels good after the hike. I don't know, maybe it doesn't make you feel good. It makes me feel good. But so anyway, it was a great time, and we got back on Monday evening, and so now I'm just kind of getting back jet lag wise. But yay, I've got a few of you on, so I'm going to go ahead and start and talk about my project today. Now, you may recognize what I'm doing here. I said that I was going to do a series of 3 boxes with the Hippo Happiness bundle. Now, that bundle has now retired, but the products in the bundle are still available. So if you click on an old link from my other 2 boxes, I had the bundle link up in my supply list. That link will no longer work, but you can still get the Hippo Friends Dies and the Hippo Happiness Stamp Set. So those products are still available, just not as a bundle anymore. So I just wanted to point that out. So this is the 3rd box in that series, and this time I use the little U. But just keep in mind, and you can see this is like a 8-sided box, whereas my other ones were had 4 sides. So this one was the unicorn box that I did, and I did it like as a 4-sided, and then this one was the hippo box that I did, and I also did like 4 sides on that. Because these guys had curvy sides, I just did straight sides because it would have been really hard to follow the shape on those ones. But this one had straight sides, like on all those 8 sides. So I decided to follow along. So you'll want to get the dimensions for those so you don't have to work them out yourself. So yeah, I think I really like the way this box came together. So it's a really cool little box and it completes the set. They're all the same height. So I'll show you in a second with the 3 of them all side by side. They would make a nice little gift box set. And you know, you don't have to necessarily, if you don't like cute little animals, you can just get the Hippo and Friends dies. They look like this. So you've got nesting sets of those labels, and you do get the little animal outlines, but you can just ignore those if you just want the nice label-y frames that nest so you can make the boxes. Then you can take those boxes and you can decorate them up however you want, with flowers. You can make them look more elegant. I just wanted to use the bundle in its entirety while it was still available so I could show you how to use it if you just had this. So there's a lot of different ways you can decorate up the boxes. All you really need are the dimensions. And I will have a project sheet that I will send to you tomorrow. I call this the Ewe Gift Box, and I've already found some mistakes that I need to correct because the Hippo Happiness bundle is no longer available. That won't be on there. And I need to add some links down at the bottom. But these project sheets are great because you can print them out, put them in a little binder or a folder, and then you can flip through them when you need to find dimensions for a box or something that you want to make that are 3D. And usually they're 1 page long. This one has a little diagram for how to do the sides of the boxes so they look correct. And I have my little card down here at the bottom as well. So I'll show you also how to make a card. Because I think that's kind of important that we have like a card that goes with them. So each of those boxes also has a card that goes with it. So at the end I'm going to show you all 3 boxes with all 3 cards so you can see the complete set if you want to make it just like I did mine. All right, okay, I've done a lot of talking, so let's jump in and let's have a look at this, how I'm going to do this. Okay, it is not coming up here. What am I doing? Oh, there it is. Okay, I thought it wasn't coming up and it's right there. Okay, I'm still jet lagged. Okay, so I just want to show you real quick. See these 3 boxes? They are all the same height. So they'll look really nice together if you make them as a set. I'll just put those aside for a moment. And here's my little card. I'll show you how to make that afterwards. So, and here is the bundle that is no longer bundled, so you have to buy them separate. Hippo Happiness Stamp Set and Hippo and Friends Dies. Both available still, but just separately. Okay, so let's start out with doing some die cutting because we need to create those labels that will make up the top and the bottom of the boxes. So let's go ahead. I've got my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and let me move out here so you can see more of my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Here we go. All right, you can kind of see this here. I've got my handle on the side. This is the full machine. I've got the base platform, which is labeled number 1. We need the die cutting piece, or it's a plate. It's an extra plate, but it comes with your machine. Number 2. Then I've got my first cutting plate, and then we're going to take the largest of these labels and the second largest. And I'm just going to do I'm going to cut two. We're going to need two each of these. And I've pre-cut some already, so I'm just going to show you how to do this if you don't already know how to die cut. So I'm going to be cutting the labels from step 1 and also the optional labels from step 7 and 13. So those would be the smaller of the two labels. So you're going to need two each of these, and since my box is going to be in So Saffron, the paper that's on the side, I'm going to cut these out in So Saffron. Okay, and so that just runs through. I just crank that through, and then I'll have a top label, and this one is going to be on the inside. And I earlier, so you don't have to see me do this over and over again, I cut another one which will be for the bottom of the box, and then another insert piece for the inside of the box. All right, so let me set those aside, and we'll use those in just a bit. Now you're going to need your Simply Scored. So let me grab that out, line that up, and we'll start by using, we're going to be making the piece for the lid of the box. And so this piece will measure 9 3/8 inches by 2 inches. And then I am just going to put one of the short sides up at the top, and I'm going to score. I'm just looking at my measurements. But you could, so you're going to score at the 3/8 inch mark, okay? So just score at 3/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to turn it, and it doesn't really matter which way you turn it. You can have the skinny scored segment up at the top, but this time I'm going to turn it towards the bottom. But if you do it the opposite direction, just make sure one of the long sides is up at the top. The only difference that it will make, if you score it like me with the skinny scored segment at the bottom, your cut piece will look like this, with the side tab like that. If you do it in the opposite direction, your side tab will be over on the other side, but it doesn't really matter. It's just, I just wanted to, if you want to do it exactly like mine, in this case, this is the way I would do it. So the skinny scored segment is towards the bottom, and then we're going to score at the 3/4 inch mark, the 1 3/4 inch mark, the 2.5 inch mark, the 4.5 inch mark, the 5.25 inch mark, the 6.25 inch mark, the 7 inch mark, and the 9 inch mark. Okay, so that's the way it scores. It's kind of hard to see the score lines on this pattern paper, but I'm going to show you in the diagram in just a second, and you'll be able to see it a little bit easier. I'm also going to go ahead and do the bottom piece right now as well. I'm kind of skipping my steps around. That way we can do both of these strips right at the same time, and you'll kind of get the feel for it. So this one, the bottom piece is 9 1/8 inches by 2 inches. This is just a piece of basic white cardstock, and again I'm going to score at the 3/8 inch mark. Keep that skinny scored segment towards the bottom. If you want it to look like mine, you can kind of see my skinny scored segment. It's down towards the bottom. Okay, so now we have some new scoring measurements. 3/4 of an inch, 1 5/8 of an inch, 2 3/8 inches, 4 3/8 inches, 5 1/8 inches, 6 inch mark, 6 3/4 inch mark, and finally the 8 3/4 inch mark. All right, so that's what it looks like. All right, let's set this aside. And now I'm going to bring this piece out here like this so we can kind of follow along so you can see what these pieces are going to look like. I find it's a little easier if you fold everything first. You can see all the crease lines a little easier. So let's go ahead and fold that skinny scored segment at the bottom, and you can use your bone folder to smooth out that fold. And then you're just going to come along and fold, kind of coming all the way along. Find all the score lines and use your bone folder. If you use your bone folder, it kind of reinforces the fold and you'll be able to see it a little easier, especially if you're using pattern paper. You can use pattern paper for both pieces if you want to, but if you want to save your pattern paper, just use a colored piece or a white piece for that bottom piece, and it won't matter because it's not going to show when the box is closed. Okay, so I've got all of that folded. And then you're going to take your paper snips and first cut away that bottom square, the one that is right here. And I just kind of do this on an angle to kind of create a tab. Okay, so that would be my first little cutaway piece. And then I also angle this tab up here. And then for all of these other pieces down at the bottom, all I'm going to do is make little V's at each of the score intersections. And this is just going to help bring your box together. These can be fairly shallow. They don't have to be a wide V, just so that those tabs come together nicely. And I just go ahead and cut. Some of them will fall out and some of them I'll have to pull out here. So I'll just come along, find all the pieces that didn't make it out. So that's what it looks like. And you can get a better idea on this diagram because the lighting's a little better on there. So then just get rid of all these little pieces. And then we'll do the same thing for this piece. Just gonna fold this along the score line and reinforce it with the bone folder. And then just come along here, do all the pieces. All right. Okay, so you can kind of see the same thing with this piece. You can see the folds a lot better on this one. So start with that corner and get rid of that first piece, make the side tab on an angle, and then just come in and do these little V's. And if you're going to use tear and tape, which you can definitely do, you can put the tear and tape on before you do the little V's. But I like to use Tombow because it holds really well. So I don't need to put any tear and tape on here. And let me do that side one as well. Pick all of these little triangles out. Okay. Last one. So I've got that piece all set up and ready to go. Let's get rid of all of these little triangles. Tuck this away. All right, this is probably going to be the hardest part of the box. Well, no, this part is not going to be hard, but the next one is just getting that shape of the box for the first time. So I'm just going to fold this over and see if this piece will line up for me nicely. Okay, so this is my little side tab piece, and I'm going to put Tombow on it. And then what you can do, instead of trying to line it up in the air, is if you can fold that over with the other end right on top, then you can get a really nice alignment while it's flat. So I'm just going to do that. Just pull it up just a bit more. Okay, so now I know it's got a really nice alignment. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of shape this in this shape right here. Okay, it's going to be a little bit wonky because it's got like 8 sides, and right now it doesn't really have a shape to it. But the good thing about this is it's going to have these little dotted lines that you can help use to align everything. So you just kind of put it into a rough shape of what that label is going to look like. And then I'm going to put Tombow on here on each of the little tabs. They're folded down. Okay. And then make sure you have the correct side. The side that has the nicer stitching, you'll want that facing up. Ask me how I know, because I did it wrong the first time, because this will be the top of the box, so you want to make sure the nice stitching is on the top. So I'm just going to kind of line this up, and I'm going to kind of smoosh it into place a little bit without looking first. Give it a little press down and then flip over. And then you're going to just kind of align it. It's not quite stuck down yet. So I'm using the stitching to kind of make sure that the box looks nice. So I'm just kind of aligning it into place. All right, we're almost there. This is when it's nice to use glue, because glue takes just a little bit to dry, so you've got a lot of time to just kind of play with it and kind of get it right to where you want. And if you're a perfectionist, you might play with this a little bit too long, but basically you'll just kind of look. I don't know if you can see that, but the stitching is going to help you line up that edge. So it will be pretty even all the way around. And once you've got that done, you're just going to press down on the inside for those tabs and just make sure it's sealed into place and doesn't move around anymore. And then remember the smaller label. So we cut 2 of each of these labels, the largest and the smallest, or the largest and the second largest. So take your second largest label, the extra one that you cut, and now I'm going to add a little bit of Tombow to here. And I'm going to use like a paper piercer tool, or you could use a bone folder or the edge of your scissors. I'm going to plunk this down in here. Let's just show you how to use it with scissors, because most people have a pair of scissors. And I'm just going to kind of align this. It's going to have about almost 1/8 of an inch on the inside all the way around. So you're just going to kind of position it centered. And when you do that, it's going to hide those tabs a little bit. It's going to finish the inside of the box. It's not going to go all the way to the edge, but I'll show you in a second. When you press down, you see it creates a nice kind of look for the inside of the box. You don't have to add that extra piece, that's optional, but it makes the inside look a little nicer if you want to finish it off. Or if you don't want to use So Saffron paper, you could use white, or you could pick another color out of the paper as a contrasting piece. So that is what the lid looks like. We'll have to decorate it in just a moment. So then let's grab this white piece. We'll do the same thing with it. We're going to put a little bit of Tombow on this side tab, the one over on the side. And then we're going to close this up create a piece like this. Okay, so for this one, it can be a little easier because we've already got this shape here. So you can use this and you can plunk it right inside here because it's a nesting box. And just put it inside so it will fit. You see, so now it has its it's got its shape already. So then you can take your Tombow, put it on each of these tabs. And then you're going to take another piece. This is another large piece, not the second largest, another large piece. And for this one, since this stitching is going to be facing up, I'm going to actually put the nicer stitch side facing down. And then I'm just going to kind of feel with my fingers to feel like it's like centered on the box. And I'm just going to press down a little bit when I feel like it's right. And then I'm carefully pulling up. And then again, I'm going to arrange this just a little bit just to make sure it's kind of centered. I've made the two short sides on the short side a little bit smaller, so this whole piece is a little bit smaller in size than the other one. So you'll notice that, especially on the sides, that this is going to be angled slightly differently than this one that really follows along the sides very well. But I would just kind of make sure that these two long sides look nice, that they're lined up nicely. And if that looks good, then you can kind of press down. And then we'll take our second piece. This is the second largest piece again. This is optional. You can see what it looks like without the finished piece. You can see some of those tabs, some of those gaps. But once I add this piece on, it really helps to finish the box. So we'll just drop that in there and use our scissors to kind of move it around, position it. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. And then I'll press it down. And then you can see again, it just looks a little bit better when you do that. Okay, so basically that is the box design, and I'll just show you how I do the little label on the top. It's pretty snug. It's like it's not going to, if you hold it, it's going to slowly slide off, but it's got a pretty snug fit. If you were worried about it sliding off, you could always do it in the opposite direction and have the inside be this inside piece, and then you'd be grabbing this would be the bottom, but I'm going to do it like this. All right, a lot of talking. I pre-cut myself another little label, and this one is the second largest, so not the largest, but the second largest. I ran that through with a piece of basic white, and this is going to be my base for the top of the box. So I'll just place that there for now. And now I'm going to create a little U, a little lamb, whatever you want to call it. The reason I call it a U is because in the little greeting it says thank you so much. So that's why I'm calling it a U. So you're going to need 2 colors of ink, actually 3 colors of ink to create the lamb. But for the body, we'll start off with So Saffron. And I found that stamping this little guy will stamp the ears and the body first. We've got the full body, that's going to be in Petal Pink. This one will be in Petal Pink. And this one here is going to be in So Saffron. And I find that if you stamp this one first, it makes alignment a little easier. So when you're doing this, do it on scrap paper for the first time. you know, stamp yourself a couple just in case you mess up a little bit on one, then you have an extra one to play with. And so we've got So Saffron. We'll take Petal Pink and we'll do the full body with the Petal Pink. And I find it's really quite easy if you align the head and the body and then you kind of just aim so that the ears, the saffron ears, are in the center of the Petal Pink ears. And so that's what it looks like. And you know what? Give yourself a few practice runs with this, but I don't find this particularly hard to stamp. I just kind of, you know, after a few, it became very easy. But give yourself some practice paper first, because it is a two-step stamp. And sometimes you just need just a little bit of practice to get it right. All right, so we've got a little die for this. So I'm going to die cut this. It's this little one right here. And we'll add the faces afterwards. The reason I'm going to give it just a little bit, I'm going to die cut first, is because I've layered this with 2 layers of ink, and I just want to give it a chance to dry before I add my black ink for the face on top. You know, because if you do it right away, sometimes with the ink, it is a water-based ink, it can just stay a little bit wet just for a moment. So this will allow me to let it dry completely. You could also use a heat tool to set it. Okay, I'm just aligning this. All right. Okay, I think I've got it right. And then I'm going to put my plate on top, hold it in place, and run it through. Okay, and there's my first little U. I'm going to run through the other one just in case I don't like my first face. Then I've got like another shot at stamping this. All right. Okay. Let's go through one more time. It's nice not to have to hand cut these. It takes a little moment to position them, but then once you've got it positioned, you know, it's very quick to crank it through. And if you do a bunch of these all at once, you get really good at it. If you have to do them over and over again, it becomes faster. It's amazing what a little muscle memory will do. Okay, so we've got our label piece. We need to add little faces to these guys. So look for this little face. It's the smallest of all the faces. I'm just going to tap gently on my Memento ink pad just to get a little bit of ink on there. And I'm going to just come down just below the little head and just give it a little tiny press just so we can get the face. Let's do one more. Just tap, tap, tap gently, come down. Don't smush this little stamp too hard, because if you smush it too hard, the detail on this will be lost. The little lines will be a little fatter. So it's a very gentle stamp. You know what? I think what I'm going to do, just give me a second. I'm going to bring my camera down a little bit because I had it really high for the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Let me bring it down a little bit so you can see the little lammy or the U. Okay, so I'm gonna, this U I like just a little bit better than the other U. And then I'll take my little greeting. It says thank you so much. And there is another one greeting with a U on it. It's you are special. So that's a cute little greeting you could use as well for this one. So just tap gently. And I'm going to add this greeting right down here on the bottom of my label. And then I'm going to add 2 little flowers. And you could actually pop the flowers up too, but They're small, so I'm gonna stamp them directly onto my label piece. So I'll put one there, another one there. And that was just So Saffron ink. And then I'll grab a dimensional and just pop up my little die cut piece right on, stuck it to my work surface. Put it right onto your little label. And you know what, if you didn't want to die cut this little guy, you could also just stamp him directly onto the label. I just wanted to give that one just a little bit of dimension. And then we'll take, where did they go? Right here. We'll take some of these champagne rhinestone jewels. I use the champagne rhinestone jewels on all of the boxes, so I'm just kind of repeating the pattern. If you don't have the champagne ones, you can use the regular ones. They would look nice too. But I would just, if you're making a set, just kind of keep them all the same. And then we'll take this and just add it right to the top of the box. Like that. Okay, and then you can put different things inside the box. I usually put in candy. Saltwater taffy is a good one for this time of year because we're getting into the season of it's getting hot outside. Today went for a walk in the morning and it was not so hot. It was like in the 50s here. The previous day it was in the 70s when I got up and I was like, yay, I was wearing a t-shirt and now I'm back to long sleeves again. So this time of year it's variable throughout the country or wherever you live, but get yourself some saltwater taffy because it's a good treat for summer. It's in this wax paper and you can just like add it to a few pieces to the inside of the box and it looks really pretty with this paper. By the way, I didn't mention the paper. This paper is retiring very soon. It's called Fine Art Floral. June is the last month you can get it, and it is while supplies last, or it will be while supplies last, starting June 1st. June is the last month you can get this paper. What I love about this paper, it matches a different bundle that we have that is carrying over or has carried over into the catalog, but you won't be able to get the paper anymore, and it's so beautiful. So it's got, on one side, it's got pretty florals, and on the other side, it's got these neutral kind of, almost looks like an oil paint that's been brushed on canvas, but they're tone on tone on the back side. And so for each of these boxes, I use the neutral side of the paper, not the floral side of the paper, but it's a really versatile paper, and the colors are still really great for summer. So if you like this paper, pick some up before it's too late. We're in May 2021 right now if you're watching this in the future. June 2021 is the last time you can get this paper, and it's while supplies last. If it runs out before June hits, they won't be replacing it. They'll just say, we can't get it anymore because it won't be within that time parameters. So any of those papers that were in the mini catalog, they will all be retiring, and they're all will be while supplies last. Basically, they're already while supplies last because if they run out, they won't be replacing it. So that is the box, and let me show you how you can make a cute little card to match your box, just so it's fun and you have a card to match right away. Okay, so I've cut a little piece of the paper, and this is 1 3/4 inches by 4 1/4 inches, and I've got a card base. This is just a regular half sheet of cardstock, so 8.5 by 5.5 and scored in half and folded at the 4.25 inch mark to bring it into a kind of a standard size card that we do. So we'll take this piece of paper and I'm just going to add it, let me see, about 1/2 inch from the side of this card. Just going to lay it down like that and just glue it down. I've also cut myself 2 labels, 2 of the largest labels, one in So Saffron and one in Basic White. And I've got some bumblebee ribbon. So the bumblebee ribbon, it's a gingham ribbon, and gingham has more than one shade of yellow in it usually. So this will work well for if you have Daffodil Delight cardstock or So Saffron or Bumblebee, but it works well for So Saffron too. So I'm just going to take my large label and I'm going to wrap this around here, and I'm going to give myself enough length to come in and I want to just tie a bow around here, a knot. So I'll just tie my first knot, just make sure, and then we're going to clamp, and then we'll do this second knot. These are just my locking tweezers that I always use for knot tying, so I don't have to call my husband in from the other room. Besides, my husband didn't used to work from home, but you know, now he does. So then I'll just cut those little ends off on an angle. Okay, and then I can add that to here. I left my glue open. Yes, I did. Okay, and so I'm going to use my paper clip to open it. All right. I sometimes leave my thing open because I get distracted and then I move on to another project. So this is going to be about 1 inch from the edge and centered from top to bottom. Just kind of add that onto there. Press down. Okay, so for this label, let's just come in here. This is going to come onto here, and we're going to have a U here. And we're going to add a greeting down here. I'm going to use the same one, Memento ink, tap, tap, tap. And this one, just make sure it's kind of aligned with the bottom. Okay, and then the flower, I'm going to put 3 flowers on this time. I already pre-did a U, so you didn't have to watch me do that again. So just add a few flowers onto there. All right, so now I can take this piece, add this on here, give this a little lift. It's not a complicated card, but it matches the box nicely. And then I'll take my U, add a dimensional to the back of it. That's why it's always good to stamp a few extras so that you can use them on more projects. And then we'll come in with, where are my champagne jewels? And then just put a little jewel in each of those flower centers just to make them look pretty. And let's just move all of these over to the side. And that is the finished card. A little bit of ribbon, a little bit of bling, and it's just really simple. And look how nicely it matches the box. You know, it's got definitely a little feel to it. All right, so here are the other cards and boxes. Let's get these lined up here. And here. Okay, maybe I'll do this a little differently. I'll do this. Always hard to decide how to display everything. Okay, so there is the set of boxes with matching cards, and I kept kind of a theme going here. You know, I tried to use similar colors on each of them, but you can match, you know, switch them out. You could make a pool party colored, like a blue. You can switch out the colors, but I just wanted to show you how you could make those all in different colors and make just a really cute, wonderful little box set. And like I said, they all are the same height, so they will look nice together. So you could make a series of them as a little gift box and make a cute little class too, right? So there they are. I hope you like all of them. And in today's blog post, I linked back to the previous boxes. So if you missed them, make sure you go to the description of this video and just have a look, because it will link you back to the other boxes. So if you missed them, it is all good. So let me see if there's anything I forgot to tell you. All the supplies I talked about today are on my blog, and I realized I forgot that I ended up putting the bundle in my supply list because it's so ingrained in me to put the bundle. Just remember, the bundle is not available, but the things that were in the bundle are still available. So I'll have to go in and fix that so that the bundle's no longer showing. So this month, my free with purchase is the animal print embossing folder. And all you need to do, this is May 2021, is you need to spend $50 with me in my Stampin' Up store, and I will send this embossing folder to you in June. So it's I really like this embossing folder. I chose it because it works well as an animal print, but it also works well as a neutral background. It can also look like a nature background. So it's a really nice embossing folder to have. And I don't think we've had an animal print one like this before, so it would be a good one to have in your collection. All right, and as always, if you order from me, you can choose one of my free with purchase tutorials. All you need to do is spend $15 with me. So at least $15 will get you a free tutorial. And if you spend at least $50, then you'll get both the tutorial and the embossing folder. And more information is available on my blog about that. All right, I am going to go back and read your comments and see if there's anything that I can answer. So hello everyone. I'm so glad you're joining me this morning. Karen says she loves my project sheets. Thank you, Karen. I love them too. I love their nice compact size, and sometimes I go back and I refer to them too if I'm making something in the future. So so Pat asked me, did you hike by yourself or did you two have a guide? So for most of the hikes, we did them all by ourselves. We like to kind of research before we go away on a trip, if there's like hiking trails in the area. We use all trails. It's a really great, you know, if you're looking up any trail, it gives you information about the trail, a map, and also a lot of people comment in and they give you helpful tips like, this trail is really muddy, or it says this trail is difficult, but it wasn't that hard, or this trail was listed as moderate and it was really hard, or like it just gives you nice little tips that you can use for hiking. We also we're really big believers in having good equipment. So when we go on a trip, we usually have an extra suitcase that's just shoes. And I'm not a shoe girl. I'm kind of a weirdo. I'm not like a fancy shoe girl, but I am a practical shoe girl. So I do love having a good pair of running shoes, and I always right now I'm buying Asics a lot, but we also have hiking boots, and we have, even in Maui, we wore hiking boots that covered our ankles. And this was especially important because the some of the trails had that vault. Excuse me, I have a frog in my throat that's not going away. So there was a lot of volcanic rock, and some of it could really twist your ankle if you're not careful. So having a proper height of hiking boot is great. And I wear wool socks. Yes, I will wear wool socks even on Maui, and my feet weren't hot. I don't know why this is. I know they in Maui and Hawaii they wear flip flops all the time, but my feet are used to wearing proper shoes, so I don't do well in flip flops. So I saw some people on the beginnings of the trails that we went on in flip flops, and I would have been flat on my face if I wore flip flops. So some people, kudos to those people who can walk in flip flops on volcanic rock. I cannot. But we had hiking boots, and we also bought ourselves some hiking poles this time, and we really did use those on that volcanic rock. It really helped with stability. It's also really great to help you with your joints, like if you have any knee pain, like going up and down, especially down. Especially down, it really helps with your footing because you have those extra supports. And the hiking poles we got fit in our suitcase. They compact down, and then you can adjust the height depending on if you're doing a lot of downhill. You can make them a little longer. If you're going uphill, you can make them a little shorter. But they were great. I love the new hiking poles, and we found these ones. They were really recommended, and compared to some of the expensive hiking poles out there, they did a phenomenal job. They were moderately priced, and I loved them. So we feel confident going on our own. We always bring like a little first aid kit. We bring water. So we have things. We bring my husband. We were hiking once, and my boot fell apart. It just disintegrated. The foam on it. We were hiking in Utah once, and my one of my boots just disintegrated. So my husband always brings along duct tape, so he duct taped my boot to my foot so we could make it back. And then we went into town and bought new hiking boots for me. But that was a good lesson to always bring like some duct tape, because you never know. Like say you lose or bring an extra shoelace. Say you lose or break a shoelace, you can also duct tape your boot together. So. Then we did go on one hike that was with Stampin' Up. Our van had two other couples, and we were masked as we went out. And then as we were hiking on private land, we were out in the open air. So some of them didn't wear masks. My husband and I, we tried to wear our masks the entire time because we were just nerdy like that. But It was good. We really enjoyed that. Was the rainforest hike, and I'm glad we did that one with a guide, because that one we actually had some stream crossings, and that one it had rained quite a bit, so I don't think I would have done that one on my own. We don't do super hard hikes. You know, we're not hanging off of cliffs, and we're not using ropes. This is just like fun hiking that you can do. In general, you don't need any extra equipment other than maybe poles and hiking boots. So that was a long answer to your question, but we love hiking, and it is so good for the body. I felt really good after our hikes, and so yay. All right, that was a long answer. Okay, I'm reading more comments. Okay. Pat says, I'm so happy all of you demonstrators got to go this year. All your hard work was worth a night out with hubby or two. I'm glad you got back safe. Yeah, so it was an incredible trip. I earned both trips. I cashed out for Maui Elite, so Stampin' Up covered the trip for my husband and I for 5 nights at the Grand Wailea. It was a fabulous resort, just awesome, beautiful, luxurious. And then we did a few, because we had kept our flights for the length of Maui Elite, so we used the cash out from Maui Elite to cover the hotel at a different place on the island, and we spent 4 nights at a different hotel. So it was nice to see the 2 different areas of Maui and stay in the 2 different areas. So we really enjoyed our trip. It was really needed, because we've been inside too long, and we needed a little bit of a wake-up call to try to integrate back into the real world. We're not quite integrated fully yet, but it was a step in the right direction. Good morning, everyone. I won't mention everyone by name because there's a lot of you on here this morning, but I just want to make sure that I answer all your questions. Well, I'm so glad you liked this project, and these boxes, remember, you can use them with whatever stamp set and bundle that you want. They're really great. All you need to create the boxes, you need a scoring board. Of course, you need paper and cardstock, but you'll also need these dies and a die cutting machine. And I really feel these dies are worth it, even if you don't love the little cute little animals. But the labels on here, you get a lot of labels. You get 4 of these, you get 3 of these ones, and you get 3 of these ones. Nesting labels that work really well on cards and work also well for your 3D projects. All right, guys. Well, I'm so glad that you were here with me this morning. I hope you have a fabulous weekend. Just keep in mind, if you do have a big wish list, the starter kit is like the best thing out there right now. And we have a special going on right now. Until May 31st is the last day that you can get the starter kit, and you get an extra $30 in your starter kit. So if you have a big wish list, if your wish list is over $100 and you're not already a demonstrator, I highly encourage you to get the starter kit, because even if you never place another order, it is such a good deal. And if you do continue to place orders, you get 20% off as the starting discount. And it's just like getting a coupon, on all your orders. And why wouldn't you want to do that? And why wouldn't you want to get like all the pre-orders and stuff? Like, it's nice to be in the know. Stampin' Up lets us know things in advance. At the end of June, we are going to get to see the holiday catalog online if you're signed up for the starter kit. And then you'll be able to pre-order from the holiday catalog in July. That's 1 month before customers get to. So there's just so many good reasons to get the starter kit. And if you have any questions about that at all, please contact me. And I know one of the biggest questions I get about the starter kit is, I don't want to do classes. I don't want to teach people. I don't want to do what you do. I just want to stamp. I just want to enjoy my hobby. And you know, the starter kit's for you too. You don't have to teach classes. You don't have to have a business. You can just enjoy the discount. You can enjoy being part of a team. Tonight, my team is going to meet online. We're having a team stamping night. And so, you know, it's nice to have a little bit more connectivity. You know, I can't do that with everyone because in these events we talk about, you know, Stampin' Up stuff that hasn't been released yet. So this is like kind of like an exclusive group when you get the starter kit, that I can share those additional things with you and we can talk about it. And it's our team, the Bee Stampers, is just a wonderful group of ladies. They are so nice. I love them so much. They're just kind to each other, and I really, really appreciate kindness. You know, we come from different backgrounds. We're not all the same, but we have this group of ladies. We share a love of stamping, and we're kind and considerate to each other. And so I really appreciate that. Really passionate about my team, and I love it a lot. So if you're in that mode, if you're placing a large order, consider the starter kit. The link is actually down below, and it's also on my blog page. You can click over onto the starter kit and find out more information about it. And if you have any questions, please email me. I'm always happy to answer questions. I'm not one of those people that thinks that questions are a bad thing. I think I used to have a saying. I don't like to use the word stupid, but I used to use this saying a lot. The only bad question, or the only stupid question, is the one that you haven't asked because you're too scared to ask it. But I don't like to use the word stupid. So the only bad thing or a bad question in my mind is the one that you didn't ask because you were too afraid to ask it. So please send me your questions about the starter kit if you have them. All right. Have a fabulous weekend, and I will see you back here next Tuesday for another live video, and I hope you will join me then, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This time it will be on Facebook. All right, guys, take care. Have a fabulous long weekend if you are in the U.S. Take care. Bye-bye.